Welcome everyone to our Simul Hangover stream. Last night, every Sunday night we host the classical Simul, and the effects of that are always lingering on Monday morning. So this is what I call the Simul Hangover. It's a natural high. Where is everybody? Astrobate, did I see Hey It's Miro here? Hey It's Miro. Is that from last night or is that from this morning? Princess Chess 64, good to see you. Astrobate as always. What's up, everybody? So let's get some challenges out there. Astrobate, what happened yesterday? Oh, you played. What did you do? Seriously, Astrobate, what did you do? Was that an English? Oh, you played the King's Indian. Yeah, Astrobate played his first King's Indian. Not the Czech Benoni. Let's see. Profile, last games. There's Miro. Alright. It's so great having Miro here. I hope he never has another job. He just hang out on our stream all the time. Princess Chess challenging me. Alright. We will get to it. I have really bad lag. Not particularly. There's Astrobate. Fianchetto Defense. Yugoslav Variation. Why is it? It's Yugoslav Variation. I said... Okay, it's Yugoslav Variation. This interesting move order. This is your game from yesterday. Interesting move order. That's bad. So that's what you did. Right. You have to play knight a5, bro. Knight's on the side of the board. Knight a5. The c-pawn is the weak point in the fianchetto setup because my pawn is not protected by anything. I know this looks strange. It's like a strange Benoni. You would think white just has a good position. But actually, knight a5 is quite resilient. Let's see. Analysis board. Feels like I have lag. It really does. Is my mouse working? I can't click on analysis board. It's weird. I didn't try to do game analysis. It's already analyzed, I guess. Wow, perfect game. So white has quite a good score in this line. Knight a5. You played knight before. This is not a good move. Alright, let's go. We've got challenges from Princess Chess and Kaspa. Still feels like I have lag. Like everything's taking longer. Good morning, Princess Chess Checkmaters. Checkmaters, our old friend. That opening we played was out of Gawain James opening book, but the line doesn't show up in all the Chess Master database. The lichess Master database. Right, the line that we played is really important. Looks like it's an important variation. I looked at it, but your knight d5 was a novelty. Your piece sacrifice. The computer didn't like it. Scary openings. Is it Halloween yet? That's next week. Knight d5 is in the book? Are you sure it was that exact position? The computer didn't like it. I expected bishop g5. I think bishop g5 has been played before. Yeah, it's good to have a deeper look at that. Alright, Princess Chess, good luck. I believe you. It's good to have a theoretical battle. Princess Chess. We're going to do the d4. Now she plays Benko. So if you want to frustrate the Benko, you got to play Knight f3, for example. Oh, that's it. I got rid of the Benko. No problem. The problem with the Benko seems to be the accepted. Benko accepted. You can switch it up. Alright, so Slav-esque. Slav-esque stuff. Let's be safe. I like to start out slow in the morning, especially Monday morning. Mr. Coffee system. My old friend Lawyer Times used to play like this with white. I don't know too many masters who play the Kali system, but she didn't play bishop f5. That's kind of like mainline. Alright. I mean, this is what it is. You played the semi-Slav? Wow. Quite a theoretical opening. I didn't know Princess Chess played the semi-Slav. Now we're getting. I don't know what I'm doing that well here, but I always played the bishop g5 semi-Slav, so I'm not an expert on the Marin. I haven't played it in 20 years. I've got 2 more challenges. We will take the subscriber challenges first. One of the kindest. Dude, what is my computer doing? Got some kind of apps running in the background. It's okay, checkmeters. I know it's late and you're drunk. Or you're just typing on your phone. The Kosich. Oh. No, I mean, at first I thought... What did I think? Well, I mean, I guess there's something like you can do like bishop d3, right? What is... Okay, so my mouse is acting crazy now? What's that? Bishop e4. What is this? Drivers. You're on your phone. You gotta work. Most of the American players who watch my stream are unemployed. If you have a job, checkmeters, you're in the minority with Mr. Coffee. Yeah, my mouse is not okay. I thought it was a problem with my computer, but it's a problem with my mouse. The cursor is like all sliding across the screen too slowly. We're proud of Mr. Coffee holding down a job. Well, I mean, you know, I think most of you... What's up, Zen Chess? Hey, it's Miro is also unemployed by choice. It's the best way to be unemployed. I thought you said you got fired, checkmaters. Drinking on duty. I'm just making this up. Alright. I'm just teasing him. He's very sensitive. That's why the girls like him so much. Checkmater's sensitive nature. I'm afraid. I'm afraid you've just given up your central strong point for no good reason. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Chris just says it's so nice. Thanks for surrendering your center. And she also has her good bishop, ready to exchange off on c3. Is it my imagination about the mouse? I don't know. Maybe I'm sensitive and it's not my mouse. Maybe it's you. I realize a lot of times it's our perception of things. Princess just bought a Winnebago. Winnebago. Yeah, Princess Chess doesn't like dark square bishop. We've seen this before in the Benko. You with the Benoni yesterday, Astrobate. Come on, bro. You played bishop takes c3. You already had lost position, but still. Bishop takes c3. Was that? What was that? Was that to spite me? Wow, attacking the strong point. The philosophy of chess. It's a new book by Igor Zaitsev. Igor Zaitsev is like a dinosaur. He makes me look like a spring chicken. What? Is that like a new book or like some old book that's been like translated to English or something? It's funny. Zen Chess is a very solid proponent of Nimzovich's theories. Attacking the strong point, the philosophy of chess, would be based on a false assumption, When in reality, attacking a strong point is usually the wrong thing to do. You want to attack the weak points. Attack the strong point if you have no other choice, generally speaking. But wow, Princess Chess, that's hardcore. At least she's putting her pawns on dark squares to make up for the bishop she doesn't have. Steinitz plays d5, an example of attacking the strong point. What opening is that? I've probably gone over that game. Find the error. 1 month. Checkmater is not even a subscriber. He's a good job and he still doesn't subscribe to my stream. Unbelievable. Just the free rider principle. It's alright. You're a good friend. Wait, what am I doing here? Attacking the strong point? Uh-huh. You want to induce weaknesses? Dude, it's alright. You shouldn't have said that. I'm so embarrassed because I invited you to come to my stream. And then I'm like trying to guilt you into subscribing to my stream. It's that famous game where Steinitz gets his knight on d4 in front of black's pawn. And then there's some crazy sacrifices. That's like, yeah. The Immortal Game or whatever. It's a Joko. It's like the first book in the first game in 500 Master Games of Chess. Right. It's a pretty famous, one of the most famous games of all time. Now that you mention it. I like Princess Chess getting positional, though. I thought she might go with a different approach here, like Queen F7, trying to just focus on blockading the C4 square. Or actually, I expected maybe G6 to prevent access. I mean, now I think Black's like positionally lost. Because ultimately, just not enough space. Computer is probably giving White like +3 in this position, but that doesn't mean that it's +3 for a human. You know, I think you've got to make the differentiation. Just you can't literally like take all of the engines evaluations and say, oh, I lost that game, I was +3. You're not a computer, it's not really +3. It's that famous game, yes, we said that already. Find the error, 1 month. Alright, D5. But, you know, I mean, I think it's a really interesting discussion about strong points and weak points and the base of the pawn chain and the head of the pawn chain. We'll have to check this book out. Knight D8 is hardcore. That's not happening. Chigorin. She thinks I'm going to let her trade my knight off. I mean, it's a nice bishop. What a nice bishop you have there, Princess Chess. Admittedly. Oh no. Neil Skinner lost again. Look at that maneuvering with the knights. Rather than play mindlessly, you could actually try thinking. She's got all kinds of knight maneuvers going on. Well, if that's the way you're going to be about it, where are you going anyway? Speaking of the strong point, she's got some serious maneuvering capability. So in this case, I might have to attack the head of the pawn chain at e5. It's looking like we're getting to that stage. Very likely. Gonna Nimzo. How's my time doing? Can never be too flexible. Yeah, I don't know, Neil Skinner, you've had kind of rough luck lately, it feels like. Every time we analyze a game, it seems like it's a weaker player. You have a good position and lose. She's really strong pointing. The Pointer sisters. I'm running out of time. Unbelievable. Damn it. How's my time use? 1-800 running out of time. Alright, Princess Chess. You drive a hard bargain. Now I have to just stop stop even commentating. She should play the Nimzo. It's basically she turned the semi-Slav into the Nimzo. It's weird. Why play the semi-Slav if you want to play the if you want to play the Nimzo, play the Nimzo, you know? She's got me on time. I said no time to think. H4 was strong earlier. You know, I honestly wanted to do F4, but you know, I don't want to do both. If I had more time, I could really do something with this position, but I'm kind of torn between king side, queen side, deciding on a plan. You know, the base of the pawn chain here. A5 should be played. I was strongly tempted to go for F4, but we're talking about attacking the head of the pawn chain, the strong point on E5. I wanted to play it last move, but I was afraid my king might be a little open. He, or rather she, could put pressure on my position. Silence. Silence in the courtroom. Oh my God. Ultra-violence from the opponent. It's totally... This is crazy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. An uncalled for aggression. This aggression is uncalled for. Well, where's my time? Another intermezzo. Jeez. This is really getting kind of scary. What? That was a mouse slip. She meant to play queen takes f5. Give her a take back. You played bishop takes f5? I don't know. That's kind of sketchy. I gave her take back, then she plays bishop takes f5. That seems a little weird. The assumption was she meant to play queen takes f5 and click the c8 square by accident. But I don't know about this bishop takes f5. How do you touch the bishop and like click c8 by accident? That's kind of dubious. It feels like you changed your mind post take back. Post facto. I almost lost my mind there. I thought I blundered. Should never give her a take back. She's too fast for that. I was overconfident. What? Oh, that's what happened. Okay. Yeah, she's telling the truth. She touched the queen, then changed her mind about the move. I do this all the time. I still don't get how you touched c8 at the end. That must have been like you freaked out or something. You almost got me. I had run out of time and I was on the verge of blundering the game away. I wouldn't be surprised if I had a lost position at some point, no. I felt like I was getting close. See, I was always plus 2. I said plus 3, but it was actually plus 2. Yeah, plus 5. I had so much space. I've got challenges from Zen Chess, Mule Skinner, Hey It's Mira, all subscribers to the stream. I always drop a piece on one of my own pieces if I'm going to change my mind. Oh, that's a good safety net. Click outside the board. Yeah. I like to hover my mouse over the resign button. That's my favorite strategy. Yeah, whenever I lose on time, I'll often do what Princess Chess did. I'll change my mind after a long think about a move at the last minute. Sometimes it causes a mouse slip. Play a weak player. Rook e3. Yeah, probably at some point there. So what are we playing? Thanks, Princess Chess. That was fun. Yeah, normally I don't do takebacks, but I mean, really, you know it's a mouse slip. But I'll buy her explanation about, why it was ultimately a bishop move. Although she did think a long time. That was kind of suspicious. After the takeback, she actually spent a pretty long 10 seconds on the move, which is of course sus. You gotta keep Zen Chess guessing. I had this against Princess Chess the other day. Oof. That was the last game with her. Zen Chess, such a fun killer. D4. Yeah, there's nothing I could do about that, unfortunately. Wish there was a way to sack a pawn here. Pawn takes pawn, bishop c4. Feels like there should be a way to play that position, but I don't see it. I just have to play knight takes pawn. I'm not imagining this thing. I'm having trouble with my mouse as well. But it's a corded mouse. There's something on the table or something. It's like dust. Little pieces of lint. I don't know. I think I need to restart my computer. As usual. I've got another computer. I've got a backup machine. I have to set it up. It could be groundbreaking. So what am I playing here? We never played d6, so the knight's just there. So it's an exchange variation. and I don't know this. Basically an exchange variation. I know Chris splits. Yeah, after d5, I think rook e3. Yeah, there was rook e3 ideas. I think I answered that already. Yeah, there's a lot of crap on my desk. I don't know if that's messing up the mouse. It's an optical mouse. What's your thoughts on the broken king incident? I didn't think it was a big deal, was it? I think it's weird. You know, as much as we dislike Hans, it's weird to, like, touch the guy's king on his time. That was what I was told, that it was like Samuel Sevian was like touching the other player's king. Like, if you want to adjust a piece or something, you do it on your time. You would never do that, like, on the opponent's time. You know? So whatever you want to do, you don't distract the opponent while it's on their thinking time. Or if you do, you know, insist, like, then you get the arbiter. It's the freaking St. Louis Championship, man. Billionaire chess. He broke it. Okay, I need to read some more about the story. I didn't realize this is how it went down. I'll have to read more about it. I didn't realize it was a big deal. That'd be funny though. You like pick up the king, break the king off, break the cross off, put it back like broken. It makes good content. I think Princess just went back to sleep through that loss. But as I said, it's great having the unemployed players here from the United States. It's like 350%, 500%. Wait a minute. When you say that, Mr. Coffee, they're like, set and board are DGT, right? Yeah, so it all comes like in a package. As one. $300 to $500 for the whole thing. Set and board. Is that what you're telling me? Well, I mean, I don't think the pieces are necessarily like, you can choose the set separately. But I mean, they have like sensors inside. It's not like, there are different variations you can choose. Is that what you're saying? But the price is inclusive, I would assume. I don't know, the ones I've played with, they all look pretty much the same, and I would say they're average to good quality sort of pieces, but they're... I'm trying to think about the weighting of them. I probably would like them to be a little weightier. They're not the weightiest. They're a little on the light side. Yeah, I don't really like that. If they were a little heavier, you could use them as like a weapon. I like my pieces to be like, you know, viable as, you know, a second line of defense. I was talking to my therapist today about, you know, my various rage incidents. She was asking me, did you ever have like an anger, you know, a big anger attack after you lost a game? You know, and oddly, like, I couldn't think of any good examples, really becoming enraged. The best I come up with was like, you know, ripping up the score sheet and throwing it in the trash, or like kicking the trash can on the way out of the room. I think I'm pretty good. You know, once I like yelled at my opponent because I lost like a rook up position, and I told her that she should have resigned. That's about the worst, though, you know. Anyway, I was just joking about. I was just basically joking about alternate uses for pieces that are heavy. Tell me how I can give money to Billy on my cell phone. Send it to Acerbate. You can do that. You can make... How does he do this? Acerbate is my backup. If you want to transfer money, he can take payments on my behalf as well. Full year. Baker's dozen. Thomas Reinson, welcome. Alright guys, what do we do here? Petrov. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. I've never punched. I mean, I've had fights like mid-game with opponents because of some concrete reason, but I never like got angry after the game, like wanted to like punch someone or something. I take my losses pretty well, I think, compared to like Sunil Weramantry. I don't cry. I've never cried when I lost a game. What am I supposed to play in this position? This sucks. This really sucks. What do you want me to do? Knight takes e5. I got nothing better than knight takes e5. Don't tempt him. You're getting stronger. You played your friend over the board blitz today? You used to be even with him, but you won every game. Worst you ever did was refuse to handshake after the game. I had this like Indonesian player who I told you guys before, he like turned his score sheet into like a Chinese star using origami and like threw it at me. Tried to like slice my neck with it. I might be embellishing the story a little bit, but gotta watch those Indonesian IMs. They're origami ninja tactics. Score sheets can be deadly. He was like, and he like whizzed it at me. I don't understand. Like, he was like worse the whole game and lost. It was a very kind of natural consequence of what wasn't a very great game by him. You know, it wasn't like he blundered in a winning position. He got outplayed like the whole game and lost. You know, and then he like threw his score sheet at me. It was kind of weird. I could get it if you like made a sudden blunder and you were pissed, you know, but you don't like slowly get outplayed. He was never better the whole game. I mean, why are you like throwing a Chinese star at me? You found you have a FIDE rating. 5 out of 9. You need like 5 games minimum. Maybe Mr. Coffee knows. Mr. Coffee might be playing in a FIDE rated event. I should have made that my stream title. What was your worst rage tilt ever after a chess game? Alright. Dude, what am I doing? I don't think this is a good move. I should have played... Why didn't I play like bishop g4? Well, usually I just blame myself when I'm angry with myself. I don't get angry with the opponent or something. I'm pretty rational, usually. Yeah, knight d4. I invited you to play knight d4. That was brilliant. Brilliant by me, really. It was seriously brilliant. Now I have a bad... And it's exactly right up your alley, too. It's like the rolling, Scotch gambit pawns. What am I doing? Why would I do such a stupid move? Bishop e6. I could have played anything. Could have played f6. Attack the strong point. Attack something. That was the stupidest move ever by me. Now what am I gonna do? This is an official nightmare. You had a rage tilt as a youth? You slam a fist on the board? Oof. Yeah, I'm surprised Korchnoi never injured himself while raging. Knocking over the board. Am I lost yet? It's a freaking nightmare. What should I play there? Seriously. What happened? The cement park table. Thanks, Asterbate. He won't notice. What are you talking about? Oh, the cross broke off. Ooh, oh my god. That's crazy. Once I had this friend who threw darts at me. That's how seriously competitive we were with each other. You gave money. You donated to Asterbate? Dude, that's awesome. I knew one day you'd make the big bucks and be able to support me. Thank you, Checkmaters. Checkmaters with a donation. So Zenchess made a mistake. He's messing this up. Unbelievable. No, I had somebody recently who was a student who couldn't pay via PayPal, so they had to send Asterbate a payment. What's that payment site called? The US uses. I don't have access to it in Hungary. What's it called? What's the biggest US facing pay site? What's it called? I send all my payments through Asterbate. Venmo. Yeah, Venmo. Exactly. I can't open a Venmo account with a Hungarian mobile number. I have an American one, but I can't use it because I don't have access to my American phone. So if you want to send me a Venmo, I see F5 on the horizon. That's good. You want to send me a Venmo, send it to Asterbate. Good lord. What a position. He's got the ultimate. Position here. I will 2200 before I die. Don't die on me, bro. Did I trap my queen yet? I'm working on it. Don't die on me, checkmaters. Oh, that was good. See that, what I did there? I just hung a pawn. Oops. Yes. At least I have a diagonal now. Oh, you immediately neutralized it. The neutralizer. This wasn't a good game by me. What? He did it? Can't believe he did it. Really, I mean, Zen Chess only needs to improve his ending. He's like a totally complete player. Oh no. Rook d3. You found it. No way. Am I winning this, or is this just a draw? For real. Okay, it was stressful enough. I'll accept a draw here. Maybe I'm winning, but I don't have time. I don't know. I could also even lose it. That pawn is so strong. Maybe I'm winning. I mean, I can play King G8, but I was scared his pawn might be like unstoppable. King G8. I mean, I don't deserve to win by any stretch. It's actually a drawn position. Wow. Yeah, I had no time and I couldn't find the winning move. I'm not even clear it's winning, actually. That's funny. You dropped a piece and you're not losing. Wow. I played King E7, which was dumb. Basically lost the tempo. Well, it doesn't really matter. Mr. Coffee just gifted tier 1 sub to Checkmaters. Oh no! Man, you could fall into like a puddle and come out with a new jacket, man. Unbelievable. He was totally winning. Wow, even at the end. B5 was a blunder. Rook C2 was winning. Oh, of course it was winning. So Rook C2 takes, check, takes, Rook C6 check, King D5. Rook C5 check, King C5, King E5. King B4, King F6, King A3, King G7, King A2, King H7, King B3, King G6, A5, H5, A4, H6, A3, H7. Rook C2, Rook D1, Rook C2. Huh. Here, check, Bishop takes, Rook takes, Rook here, check, King D5, Rook C5 check, King C5, King E5, King B4, King F6, King A3, King G7, King A2, King H7. Maybe you don't need to play King G6. You can just play like H5. That's the point. So if I take on B3, and plus you're queening on that square, I'm better off just playing like, I don't know, A5. Oh, only King G6? What? H5 isn't winning? Or it just doesn't know? Unknown. I think it's known. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I had reached a drawn position and then lost it again. But a really good game by Zen Chess. I don't understand what I did wrong here. Etienne Bacro lost this position, so I'm in good company. See, that's why Zen Chess isn't working enough in his endgames. He doesn't know that lichess has a table base. Oh, this is a novelty, practically. Knight D2. Who would have thunk it? Castles, what else? And now Rook E1. Now we've got some transpositions. Yeah, C5 is the best move, and I played it. What else are you going to play? So this is a TN. Now, improving on Tejedor Fuentes, he plays Rook E1. Tejedor wanted to give up his D4. Zen Chess would never give up his strong points so easily. I didn't play CD4. Aha, so that's my mistake. I should trade pawns first. Then what? Do this? Now I just have the backward crappy structure. Yeah, it's a good French exchange. It is. Yeah. I guess I played the opening too passively earlier. This is the point. I guess here I'm playing too passively. Okay. Yeah, I have to challenge your knight. This is important, actually. This is important. I need to challenge this knight on e5. It's normal. This is a normal position. I don't know what's wrong with me. Knight d7. It's totally like standard. I don't know what's wrong with me. I know this position, actually. Because we reached it by a weird order of moves. Me next, sire. Me next, please. Are you kidding? I got 2 subscribers here waiting to play. Alright, Mule Skinner. Mule Skinner is nothing special. He's only played me like 272 games. This is game 273. Game 273. Can we reach 300? Mule Skinner is tough. Tough. Played the French against Mule Skinner, his favorite opening. He loves playing both sides of the French. French St. George variation. No matter what me and it always transposes into exchange French. That's your bad. That's like playing the London. I'm not to blame for that. Anyone should be ashamed of playing the exchange French, the exchange Slav, and the London. You should go stick your head in the sand like an ostrich if you play any of those 3 openings. I don't mind the exchange French if you play c4, though. That's more dynamic. I don't know what I'm doing here. Another exchange French? Mule Skinner is a proper French player. He won't do exchange French unless it's appropriate. Thanks for help, Mr. Coffee. I play a knight f3, and if they play bishop d6, I play c4. You know, it's interesting that you mention Waitskin, because Maurice plays that. They were like best friends. Not too many people play, you know, the exchange French with c4. Maurice was only one of the only decent players, so I knew that would play that with white. The other one is the Latvian Grandmaster Midzis, who's like a specialist. So what am I doing here? Yes? Playing an a6 advanced variation. There was a German IM living in Budapest here long ago named Dima Werner. Dima Werner used to play this with black. I was joking yesterday, if you wanted to see the French, I'd Google Sarah Wayne. Who's Sarah Wayne? She sounds hot. I was joking about Sarah yesterday. Checkmater said he gets his suits from Botany 500. They're like giveaways on The Price is Right. What if we like got Yasser a job as like wouldn't he be like a great game show host? Forget this chess thing. He just needs to be a game show host. He's a total game show host. Kissing the women. Alright. No, we can't do that anymore. Me Too era. I still think you'd be a great game show host. Forget chess, man. He's out for the money. Why is he playing chess? Should have been a game show host. If you're in it for the money, then why, subjugate yourself to Rex Sinkfield when you could be a game show host in Hollywood? I want to subjugate myself for the money. Oh, Rex, I'll be right over. My mouse is still acting weird. By the way, does Yasser still live in, the Netherlands? Where does he live now? Did he move to St. Louis? Oh my god, that would be so sick. Could you imagine moving from, Europe to St. Louis? And he has enough money, probably. He doesn't have to be a slave. I'm saying Europe, bro. A4. That's pretty extreme. He just wants to stop bishop e5. I mean, is it worth it to weaken yourself on the queen side? It's a good question. Can you recommend a good chess city? Man, I'm telling you, New York costs $500. From what I was told, it's hard to find a hotel room that's less than $500 a night in New York. It's crazy. Yeah, it's a good question. No, I think you gotta live in Europe. If you want to find a good chess city, you're not gonna find it in the United States. The days of good chess cities in the U.S. are basically... I mean, New York and Boston are just too expensive. They would be the best chess cities. But it's game over. You can't even go to a tournament without spending $300 a night for a hotel at least. And you can't live in a city unless you're a freaking a millionaire. No one can afford to pay rent in Boston or New York. Philadelphia, Brian Smith had to move to Philadelphia. Seriously, Zen chess. That's probably your best strategy. You're probably going to want to get a gun and a baseball bat. You can find a reasonably priced apartment in Philadelphia and then commute to New York or something. You could definitely find affordable housing in Philadelphia. Do the Brian Smith. Your expected life expectancy will go down, but you will have, better access to tournaments than in the far Midwest. What am I doing here? Yeah, no, I was talking about how Brian moved to Philadelphia to become a grandmaster. I'm just saying it's kind of funny. I was trying to get away from Philadelphia. For the first 20 20 years of my life. Maybe, yeah, go to Charlotte. Right, Mr. Coffee's right. Yeah, definitely. That's a good suggestion. Yeah. Way more friendly than St. Louis. Good suggestion from Mr. Coffee. And you have access to the East Coast. You know, you could drive up and down the East Coast. Definitely, yeah. The Carolinas aren't bad. Alright. I don't like my position a lot. Yeah, maybe like what's the other city in Tennessee? Nashville? Maybe Nashville? I would prefer the Carolinas. There's probably a lot of crime in Nashville. But definitely that region is plus a little bit warmer weather than like Boston, New York, or St. Louis. Ugh. I mean, somewhere like Seattle or Portland would be nice. But again, like the cost of living is probably out of control. The average home in the state of like Oregon and Washington probably costs like $500,000. Imagine what rents are like. The Southeast is more affordable. And it's not like you're in like, you know, deep South like Alabama or Mississippi. Like everyone's racist. They're just mildly racist. Alright, let's see. Bishop g5, f6. I'm gonna have to do this. I don't like it, but I'm desperate. We are desperate. But I'm telling you, like, Europe is better for chess. Why, I wouldn't even consider living in the United States. If I don't have $1 million in the bank, at least. The US is just too expensive. It's just ridiculous. Although we're catching up here. Yeah, I couldn't afford to live in Boston. As a chess player, forget it, man. If your wife works at Boston University, you're fine. I mean, like Alexander Ivanov. How can he afford to be a professional chess player? Easy, like his wife has a good job. But for the most part, you know, you can't be a professional chess player and live in the Boston area. Forget about it. Boston is a great city, but ridiculously expensive. Kangaroo Court. We're taking over. The new chess boom businesses. Yeah, he's getting in on the scam circuit. Public speaker. But that's weight skin shtick too, you know. Boris Johnson. Yeah, no, Charlotte was a good suggestion. That's a nice chess center they got going there. It's not St. Louis. You have access to like civilization. Oh, I'm getting hit on the queen side. Speaking of hurricanes, I guess I should have played knight before. Damn, he has knight a4. But wait a minute, does it work? It's not so simple. There's danger. There be danger. He went back. Wow. Skinner had the better position the whole game. It took a tactical blunder. It's a good thing on my Caro-Kann training helped to prepare me for this bad French. Dude, Hungary is an embarrassment, man. The government has like appointed this like loser who's like the president of the Hungarian Chess Federation doesn't even know how to play chess. He's like a freaking movie producer. And he's a clown who was like appointed by the government. They have to appoint like because it's like a cultural ministry or something. They appoint random people to be the president of the Hungarian Chess Federation. No, Hungarian chess it's hurting, man. The whole country is hurting. We had a protest with 80,000 people were on the streets yesterday. Not a joke. 80,000 people on the streets of Budapest yesterday. Because teachers aren't getting paid enough. Now, Hungary's in bad shape. It used to be a great chess country. But now everything sucks here. Yeah, one of the biggest protests we've had in recent times. Well, who knows what the future holds? Okay, hey, it's Miro. A lot of problems here in Europe, obviously, that have been compounded by... We had corruption compounded by the war in Ukraine, so it's not really a good situation right now. But I'm lucky that the US dollar is strong. Otherwise, I'd be in trouble. It's only 3-second increment? You challenged me 7-3. I was wondering why. I was like, oh my god, almost flagging. You're supposed to challenge me 7+5. Skinner is going with the old school time control. I hated my position the entire game. A4 is literally a new move. Vishwanathan died young. He was a strong grandmaster. I was obviously afraid of knight a4. So hey, it's Miro's up. I like when I'm black every single game. It's always fun. Czech has Czech in it. Czech Republic's probably better than Hungary. Totally. Though they're having, protests. There's a like kind of, from what I've read, there's some pro-Russian sort of contingent because it's a Slavic country, but nothing like Serbia, Basically, Czech Republic is on the democracy page. It's got to be better than Hungary. Economically, they've always been because they're closer to Germany. I mean, they're more in the orbit of Western Europe. Slovenia, although they have a far right prime minister now. For chess. A lot of political shit. There's a disaster in Hungary. No Scotch Gambit. Oh, the Joko E5 line. Personal issues. Ouch. That sounds serious. It's a great place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. Oh no, I was talking about New York. The first interesting game. This was our game. Right. Yeah, you and the other guy, the Indian guy, Ripunj, played this a lot against me. I still don't know what I'm doing. Well enough. And I haven't had anyone play this against me in like 2 months, which is really weird. It was like I had a whole bunch of games for a long time. Checkmeters calls it interesting. Dude, the Joko piano is the London system on the other side of the board. This is like White's best line. You know, checkmeters. Although, I don't know about... No, bishop e4 is lame, dude. That's lame, come on. I played that once, not that long ago. It's not inspiring. Why do I want to trade pieces? I think statistically, like, the two moves are very close. From when I saw it, bishop b6 did a little better than bishop d6 does b6 does a little better than bishop e4. But also makes sense from the standpoint of, like, if you want to be aggressive, you don't want to trade pieces. It's a winning endgame. Statistics don't lie, bro. Ask Mr. Coffee. Winning endgame. Are you sure you're in the right variation? Now we're getting the heart of the matter. You want to get over 2200? First thing you have to do is listen to your elders. I bet 10-1 that Checkmeters is a Bernie Sanders supporter. Zen Chess is an expert on this too. He studies Chessable. I'm just, I just tinker with e4, e5. I'm a tinkerer. I'm wasting all my time here. I just have to feel it. I know bishop e6 is a move. There are other moves as well, like this. The town tinkerer. The reason I bring up Bernie Sanders, what I've noticed is, like, people that are Bernie Sanders supporters are, like, ultra stubborn. They never want to listen, you know. They're on the liberal side, but they're like super stubborn, and they never want to listen to anyone. They're like stuck in their Bernie dimension. You bet 10 to 1 I've never had a political conversation with you. There's no way that Checkmeters is a Trump supporter. If you bring up Trump again, I will ban you. Seriously, I don't think I've ever banned anyone for bringing up Trump. You need to watch my stream more, man. You don't know my political ideologies? Really? It's your loss. Support no one. Trust no one. This is a MAGA stream. Obviously. But I thought about, what if I just like, just to make... It would be funny just to like make a big... Yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't even pretend. I thought about pretending as a troll to be like ultra right wing. Create the right wing chess stream. Like a spy. Ultra right chess. What's really sick, man, is like, how Emery Tate's son became like a psycho misogynist ultra right guy. It's unbelievable. I mean, maybe Tate was right wing too, I don't know, but he was a educated guy. I mean, he was constantly reading like books. I'm gonna have to time him out. Checkmeters keeps mentioning this guy that I can't stand. I just have to playfully... If you say that name again, I'm gonna ban you. I timed out Mubot? No way. Oh no. Now what do we do? I had to time out. Checkmeters he got timed out for mentioning this guy I can't stand, but who was an ex-friend of mine. You never ever mention him. It's not important. But the thing is that Andrew Tate, right? I don't know if Emery was like right wing or, he was definitely a misogynist, but not of that, he was kind of misogynistic, but he was intelligent and very intelligent, and he was well read, so I'm surprised, but who knows how he was raised. I don't think that Emery played a large role in his upbringing. I can't imagine that Emery played a big role. I don't know. He wasn't there. I mean, when I like saw Emery in Budapest, let's say, I didn't realize he had a kid in England. He said he was in England. He went to England. I was like, I didn't even know like why was he going to England? I thought maybe, okay, he has a girlfriend in England or something. I didn't realize he had actually had a child and who lived in England. He came here to play in like 2000. Actually, this was even, when was this? It must have been around 2004. I want to say. The last time I saw him was in 2006. He owed money to the organizer here, and I brought it up, and he like got really pissed. He was gonna try to like I thought he was gonna like punch me or something. We had normally always been on good terms, but he didn't like that I tried to collect money for the chess organizer here, who he had stiffed. He like didn't pay his entry fee. He was totally out of line, totally manic and crazy. Did some crazy shit. But it's just insane. The Emery Tate's son became like this right-wing, hyper-masculine flashpoint. Yeah, he played wildly, creative chess. Yeah, what are we going to do? What do I do? Mr. Coffee, what do I have to do to remod Mubat? I told checkmaters never to mention Rudy Giuliani on the stream again, but he just didn't listen, so I had to time him out. Rudy! Slash move, but that's easy enough. Come on. I'm gonna lose on time. I keep feeling like I'm playing Zen chess. Jesus Christ. I tried to time out checkmaters, and I timed out Mubat. We've done this before. You just have to be next in line. I'm just joking around, checkmaters. Just don't like when you mention that name. It's better if you just don't mention it. Jesus Christ, dude. Hey, it's Miro. Speaking of aggressive, he's like crushing me. He's up to 2170. Why couldn't I play rook e8 there? Yeah, it wasn't good enough. Man, I can't believe you played g4. What the hell happened here? I played bishop takes d4 because of time pressure. I got distracted and started talking too much. I lost my focus. But checkmaters, don't take it too personally if you're still listening. I like to occasionally time out the Rudy Giuliani sporters. People trying to trigger me. You can parole him if you want. He just needs to know his role. He's a good guy. It's the internet, you know. Context is lost on the internet. But I just don't want to see that name. Oh no. No bullet chess. Seriously. Oh, I hate bullet chess. What a waste of time. Am I mated yet? Basically. No. Wait, what? Good lord. What a psychopath. We're talking about Emery Tate. Oh, he resigned. What's that about? I don't even think he should resign. He was definitely winning. Yeah, man, I was getting crushed. What happened? I played f6. I guess it wasn't the safest. I mean, the problem is the e4. I mean, what am I going to do? I could have played bishop f5. I could trade and play bishop f5, but I don't like this. I feel like I already did something wrong. Weird, we went out of book. Knight e7 is rare. a4 is a novelty. c6 is forcing in to put pressure on my center, which is dumb. Maybe you're supposed to play bishop g4 after castles. No. No one played that. This is normal. h3 is just a variation. It looks like I'm supposed to play f6 right away, but I've tried this before with mixed results. See, if you look up games, I have 2 games here, both against Ripunj. So I only played f6 in the previous games. This is the first time I tried knight e7. f6 is the main line. Knight e7 seems okay. But I guess I could play like this or something. Maybe bishop f5. I don't know, was I afraid of like knight h4 or something? It's nothing. It's nothing. He can't do that. No, I think just bishop f5, rook e1. Black still doesn't equalize. Alright. Guys, we have half an hour left. And I'm going back to sleep. Resident spectator. Smurfing to get ready. Alright. No, I mean, that's a problematic variation. It's good, white's best chance in the Joko. It's definitely the best line. It's not trivial for black to equalize. Not another French. Yeah, knight f5 is possible. I don't play enough. I told you guys, like, I didn't play that variation in 2 months. Not even, like, casual games. For some reason, no one plays it against me anymore, and I was getting it a lot for a while. Was I even, like, winning in the final position? Hey, it's Miro. I was just happy to get a draw. I thought I was lost for sure. I was definitely lost. I mean, when you played g4, I thought, oh. When you played g4, I thought you were, like, extending yourself, weakening your king side, but actually, maybe it was good. We transpose to another exchange French. But this is the c4 line, which has some excitement to it. No way, that's terrible. Why would you play queen takes d4? Never ever trade queens here. You give away any chance of an opening advantage. And you're putting yourself in an endgame where you have an isolated pawn. It's a very, very bad move. Yeah, I wouldn't call anything you did chickening out in that game. You went totally cannibalistic on me. But I figure I was totally lost. F6 is dangerous, and I have to be careful when I play a position where I'm doing that, I got too distracted talking about the Tate family. My whole timeline's confused. I can't remember the difference between like 1997 and 2004. It's weird. Something doesn't add up. I'm trying to remember this timeline of events that happened. Somehow something's not making sense. Trying to think. Emery had to be here in like 2004 or 2005, just for one tournament or something. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it was earlier, and I just like bugged him about it much later. Maybe he didn't come here. It was like 1998 or something. I wasn't... But I know that I saw him in 2006, and I asked him about the money. That he owed to Laszlo, and he didn't like that. He was in a bad mood. We used to be friends, sort of, to a degree. He always called me, Pascal. Pascal, are you playing in the tournament? He sort of talked like a snake. Pascal, what's going on? Do you see my latest brilliancy? I was like, triple exclaim. Knight e5. You know those people who always like insist on calling you by your last name? Is that like a technique to it's kind of like a technique to have like superiority or something? I don't know. Is that like an intentional technique? There's always like the gym coach who does that. You know what I mean? Like, your regular teachers would never do that. You never have like an English teacher who's like, Pascal! But the gym coaches would do it, you know? It's a gym coach thing. They don't want to be like on a totally personal level with you. So you're not equals because they call you Pascal. It's weird. I'm disappointed with another position. How can I be worse in this game? Bishop h5, knight d7 mate. This is weird, man. Yeah, it's Hungary's different too. Hungarians have it reversed. That was one of the funny things about him, though. He would never call me by my first name. I don't understand how I went from like totally equal to almost losing in like 3 moves in this ending. I was gonna play knight e7 and then I just decided, oh, it's too passive. But I have to play knight e7, I guess. There just isn't any other move. Knight e7 was okay. There was no major problem with it. I think black is equal. But I'm not better. Although now I don't know exactly what I'm doing. What am I doing? Don't know. Bishop f7. Interesting thing about Emery Tate was that he spoke fluent Russian. I think that he trained in like counterintelligence or something with the army. He spoke literally fluent Russian. H3. Knight takes d4. Dude, Russian is a hard language to learn. I know from first-hand experience. I couldn't crack it. 2 years of trying. Not hard enough though. I'm just not a talented linguist. Languidish. In languidish. I'm languid in languages. H takes g4. Everybody's faster than me. That's why I wanted to study Russian. It was 1990 and all these players were like, so I could offer a draw in Russian. It was like perestroika. I went to Russia on a cultural exchange program for 2 weeks. But the language, I'm just not talented for languages. I once offered a draw to Alexander Goldin. When he first came over in Russian, he was really surprised. He arrived in the United States, I think, in like 1991. White has a massive initiative here. Still down a pawn. Resident Spectre is a very mysterious player. A mysterious dude. I'm just gonna lose on time. He's 3 minutes ahead of me. 0 blitz, 0 bullet. 2000 and 1900 in Rapid and Classical. Wow. It's like Nicholas, Tsar Nicholas. Yeah, really. Where did my time go? What was I doing all this time? I'm like daydreaming. Dude, he's like perfect. How strong is Resident Spectre? I'm like cowering up a pawn. Every game I'm playing the black side of the Joka piano or the French exchange, it was the worst. It was my worst stream for openings ever. Just boring, passive stuff. So that's the problem with classical openings. You have another older brother named George, right, George? My older brother. Daryl. My older brother George. Mr. Coffey's other brother George is from West Virginia. George is from the north side of the border. Pennsylvania side. Hillbilly Elegy. I can't believe it. Bishop takes d4 check. Oh my goodness. His first bad move this game. Except for queen takes d4. So the only bad moves the Resident Inspector makes are exchanges on d4. He miscaptured incorrectly with queen takes d4, and now he played bishop takes d4 for no reason. Every other move was like perfect the whole game. Another amazing resource. What does this do? We got a lot of politics to talk about with the U.S. Senate races coming up and governorships and whatnot. Bishop takes b5. Irrational tactical meltdown. White had an irrational tactical meltdown. I think Trump has even become boring for Republicans. Which is a good thing. I've given up on ever moving back to the United States at this point, but it would be nice that there was a country to go to if I ever want to go back. I was thinking of visiting next summer. Resident spectator. Residential. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe. Ron DeSantis went to Yale, and he was captain of the baseball team at Yale. First of all, okay, Ivy League schools have terrible athletic programs for the most part. Harvard sucks at everything except for ice hockey. But it's scary, man, that guy is a Harvard graduate. I mean, a Yale graduate. I've lost very much respect for what I used to think were like elite universities. Wizard King, so-called elite universities. Thomas Treinson, last game. I got to take the subscribers first. It's who you know, not what you know, that gets you into the Ivy League schools. You're about to read a chapter by Nimsevich on exchanging. Acerbate. Don't start with the fake news stories. Yeah, there's a lot of Republican, like, you know, politicians in Florida who voted against, like, aid for hurricane relief and stuff. And now they, like, want money from the federal government. Another French exchange. Probably. He played e5. Okay, I find e5 difficult to believe. Objectively. So if I take, you take with a knight? I'm gonna try this. I mean, I don't know, man. You don't like closed positions. I can see that. But I have, like, super pawn. Dun dun dun. This pawn is worth, what, like 3 pawns? How many pawns is the d5 pawn worth? How many pawns would this be worth, really? Like, seriously. It's at least 2. So I'm up a pawn and I have a super pawn. Mega pawn. It's worth, like, between, like, a pawn and a knight, somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I've changed my philosophy toward chess, you know, a lot, I think, the way I look at it. Since I started working exclusively teaching chess, it makes me think about the game differently, or it has made me think about the game differently than I used to. It's interesting. Sort of. Okay, so this e5 pawn is pretty strong too, as far as pawns go. We had trouble with the last game because of that. Handle with care such position. Yeah, I mean, there's so many old people in Florida. There's all these, like, seniors who probably get exploited by the Republicans, asking for money and donations and stuff. The stuff that they sent my mom was, like, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Bullshit. But these older people, they think, like, you know, they're voting for Ronald Reagan or something. People are basically really, really stupid. It's incomprehensible. Almost incomprehensible how stupid they are. Can I play h6 and g5? Speaking of stupid, I mean, I'm stupid too. I'm gonna play h6 and g5. There's an exception to every rule. Sorry, it was Boston University. Release Astrobate, thank you for posting, from a reliable news source. It's not from like, the Daily Mirror or whatever. COVID virus laboratory experiments. That sounds cool. Boston University, well. I wonder who went to Boston University. Don't confuse my alma mater with Harvard. Or Boston College. Okay, Boston College is a Catholic school. I mean, you don't have to be Catholic to go to school there, but it's basically a Catholic university. Maybe a lot of people don't realize that. They have a fantastic sports program, of course. Very strong in, like, for the size of the school, and like football and ice hockey. Big rivals with Boston University in ice hockey. That was the only sport Boston University is good at. Alright, Thomas Transon, which bishop is it going to be? He's made his decision. He's playing the London system. The London system it is. So what are we going to do? I have a plan for that. Never play Queen A5. I tried to play intramural volleyball once. I didn't like it. It was too formal. They were all about the rules and stuff. I thought it would be more casual. We used to play street hockey, Astrobate, but I was never good at roller skating. And I'm not a talented skater. I guess somehow connected with like linguistics. No, there were no rollerblades. Just old school skates. Man, Thomas Ringson he's a psycho. Here we go again with the same thing again. Wow. So Bishop E6 is a mistake? What else would I play there? You didn't have, like, you played in socks, floor hockey. I imagine lacrosse can get pretty nasty. I had some friends who went to fancy like prep schools, and they always played lacrosse. That's a big sport with like the rich prep school kids. Antonio, I just mentioned you yesterday. We're missing you. Good to see you. You're the first hope for someone to reach 500 games here on the stream. I don't want you to disappear on us before hitting the 500 game mark. To disappear into the distance. Your favorite E5 square? I don't really like the turn this game is taking. Jeez. I mean, what's up with my queen here? Is my queen trapped? Are you freaking kidding me? I feel like my queen was virtually trapped there. Your heart is with us. Fellow Boston University graduate. Me, Morales, and AOC. What other famous Boston University graduates are there? Astrobate didn't know the difference between Boston University and Boston College. Typical noob. It's a typical noob thing. It's all the same to those guys from Pennsylvania, Las Vegas. Finally a mistake. I think I was in trouble. If I was playing like Morales, I know I'd be in really big trouble. MLK. Noob knowledge. Cooking rooks. Bueno. My stream stayed on late enough. Leonard Nimoy. I miss Leonard Nimoy. Oh man, Cooking Rooks, thank you for subscribing. Muy bueno. Buenos tardes. You can speak Spanish with Morales. Cooking Rooks lives in Texas and he speaks Spanish. Mexican Spanish. Act now, secure your Panda NFTs. Good idea. As my technical advisor, I'll get Cooking Rooks right on it. Thomas Tristan had a great position. It's like the third time today when someone was like destroying me with these F and E pawns. But he like panicked or lost the thread. Have you seen my thread lately? Have you seen my thread? Nice threads, man. If you beat me, you get a bold golden panda. Panda face fritters. The extent of your Spanish? Mr. Coffee. Humphrey Bogart's son. Interesting. Oh, you tricked me. I thought you knew some Spanish. I should have stuck with Spanish. One of my biggest academic mistakes was like switching from Spanish to Russian. Totally useless. Although then, like now when Putin takes over the world, maybe Russian will be useful again if I live that long. I can like communicate with my captors. Feels like Thomas Jefferson is trying to make like a late stage comeback. Don't call it a comeback. I like the position of his king, though. Time. Guys, unfortunately, this is the last game for today. I gotta go. Now he listened to me and moved his king again off the diagonal. Good idea. Three weeks till the World Senior Championship. From today, I'm leaving in 3 weeks. Arrival day. Saw it. Build a wall. He saw it. Yes. Check your PayPal. Uh-oh. I know that we had a donation from not Cooking Rooks, from Checkmaters before I timed him out. Now he hates me. He subscribed, or he subscribed, he got gift subscribed, and he sent me a donation, and then I timed him out as a reward. John Kerry? John Kerry, interesting. I don't know the history of John Kerry that well. He's, he always strikes me as this like, well, I'm pretty sure that he's like old school Bostonian. They talk like, still like they're living in the 18th century England. It's sort of funny like that. The really old school, the true old money from Boston. They sound like they're speaking like British English. Kerry is really connected. He's old money. Would you like a bishop, maybe? Give me a good run for my money. You had a friend from Northern Connecticut whose mother was from those very old French-speaking communities. Yeah, it's weird. The remnants of like a lost civilization. Yeah, I've been planning that for ever since you were attacking e6. I realized it was there. But man, I mean, I was in trouble, dude. Tomas, good game to an extent. You lost at the end, but I think you were seriously better at some point. Peter doesn't think so. It thinks you're just not better, but had compensation. I was scared I could be in trouble. Again, I mean, I saw this like horrifying sort of like central pawns, a nightmare of the central pawns, and I also almost got my queen trap. But this was a very bad move, and it was interesting that you made a bad exchange, and the last player also, his mistakes were exchanges. You know, I think you should have played like knight d4 here. I expected knight b3, but I guess the problem is, yeah, maybe not. Still, there's no reason for you to exchange on e6, whatever you do here. There's no reason you have to do this exchange. It's really hard for me to do anything about that knight, and it's hard for me to release the tension. I think you should just keep the tension here. You have compensation for the sacrificed pawn, which is not bad. I mean, considering the opening is basically unsound. You're essentially playing an unsound gambit with e5. D takes c3, knight takes c3. Well, this is interesting. Just interesting. Wow, so nobody played my move. Erdos Victor has a game from 2018 with bishop e4. And another guy played knight e7. Of course, that could transpose. I'm curious what the engine says. Slaggy with superior defensive d5. c6 is the best move according to Stockfish. But then it changes its mind. Oh, it's even looking at d4. It never even occurred to me that I could play d4. Wow. Both Erdos, this other guy who's 2,500, I guess Bulgarian, and me, none of us played d4. It's so weird. You feel like you're going to overextend yourself, and I said that this pawn is really strong. It's losing its grip, though, on d4. The computer needs some more time to evaluate. I was satisfied with c6. I feel like I'm playing the Caro-Kann. You came back from this position, which is like -2, to almost equal. It's pretty good. Alright. Anyway, guys, thanks for the games. I gotta go. I will be back tomorrow night. I have to open up a tournament. For tomorrow night, we're going to be playing slower rapid, probably like 10+5. So Tuesday night, tournament night, 10+5 rapid tournament. See all you guys tomorrow night. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for subscribing. And thanks for getting timed out. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. Take care. Later, everybody.